I'm exposing 10 attraction destroyers that make women lose interest fast. And more importantly, I'm showing you exactly how to prevent each one. Because once you understand what turns her off, you can stop doing it. You can become the man she stays interested in instead of the man she ghosts. Pay attention, because every single one of these mistakes is costing you women you could have had. You've probably experienced this. Things were going well. She was laughing at your jokes, responding to your texts, showing all the signs of interest. And then suddenly, without explanation, she disappeared. The energy shifted, the warmth vanished, and you have no idea what happened. Here's what happened. You triggered one of these 10 behaviors, and it destroyed her attraction before you even knew what you did wrong. Mistake 1. Being too available too quickly. She texts and you respond immediately. She suggests hanging out and you clear your entire schedule. She mentions wanting to do something and you drop everything to make it happen. And you think you're being attentive, showing interest, proving you care. But what she's actually seeing is a man with nothing else going on. A man who will rearrange his entire life for a woman he barely knows. And that's not attractive, that's desperate. Here's the psychology. Human beings value what's scarce, what requires effort, what has boundaries and standards. When you're always available, when you're constantly free, when you have nothing competing for your time and attention, it signals low value. It tells her that your life isn't full or interesting or important, that she's your only priority. And while that might sound romantic, it's actually suffocating, because now she feels responsible for your happiness, for your schedule, for being your entire world. And that pressure ends attraction fast. Here's how to prevent this. Have a life that matters to you independent of any woman. Pursue your goals. Maintain your friendships. Keep your hobbies. And when she reaches out, respond when it's natural for you, not immediately every time. Being too available destroys mystery, but the second mistake destroys respect. And once she loses respect, attraction dies permanently. Mistake 2. Seeking her approval constantly. Asking if what you said was okay. Checking if she's happy with your decisions. Apologizing for having opinions. Changing your stance whenever she disagrees. You think you're being considerate. Being flexible. Showing you value her input. But what she sees is a man who doesn't trust himself, who needs external validation to feel okay, who has no internal compass or confidence, and that uncertainty is deeply unattractive. Women are biologically wired to seek confidence in men, not arrogance, confidence, the quiet certainty that you know who you are and what you stand for. When you constantly seek her approval, you're communicating the opposite. You're showing her that you're unsure, that you need her validation to feel secure in your choices, and that positions her as the authority figure and you as the child seeking permission. That dynamic destroys romantic attraction instantly. Here's how to prevent this. Develop internal validation. Make decisions based on what feels right to you, not what you think will make her happy. Have opinions and maintain them, even when she disagrees. You don't need to argue or prove you're right. You just need to show that your perspective isn't negotiable just because someone questions it. Seeking approval shows weakness. But the third mistake reveals something worse. It shows you don't respect her boundaries. Mistake 3. Ignoring her signals and pushing too hard. She says she's busy this week and you keep asking for specific days. She mentions she's not ready for something and you keep bringing it up. She creates distance and you close it immediately. You think you're showing persistence, determination, that you're fighting for what you want. But what she experiences is pressure, disrespect for her boundaries, and the feeling that you care more about what you want than what she's comfortable with. Here's the brutal truth. When a woman gives you a soft no or creates distance, she's testing whether you respect her autonomy, whether you can handle rejection with grace, whether you'll honor her boundaries or try to bulldoze through them. And when you push, when you ignore those signals and keep pursuing despite her pulling back, you fail that test. You prove that your desire matters more to you than her comfort. And that's not romantic. That's concerning. Here's how to prevent this. When she says no or creates distance, respect it immediately. Don't try to convince her. Don't negotiate. Don't push for explanations. Just accept it with grace and give her space. If she's interested, she'll come back when she's ready. If she's not, pushing won't change that. It'll only make her more certain that leaving was the right choice. Women stay attracted to men who make them feel safe. And safety comes from knowing your boundaries will be honored, not challenged every time you set them. Pushing too hard shows disrespect. But the fourth mistake happens in how you communicate, and it makes her feel like you're not even there. Mistake 4. Not listening, just waiting to talk. You hear the words. You wait for your turn to speak, but you're not truly listening to understand. You're listening to respond, to fix, to offer your opinion. And she can feel the difference. She can feel that you're not present, that you're just waiting for her to stop talking so you can say what you want to say. And that lack of genuine attention makes her feel invisible, unimportant, like talking to you is a waste of time. Here's what most men don't understand. Women don't share things with you because they want solutions. They share because they want to be heard. They want to feel understood. They want the experience of someone being fully present with them. And when you immediately jump to fixing or advising or relating it back to yourself, you're skipping the part that actually matters to her. You're making the conversation about you instead of about connection. Here's how to prevent this. Practice active listening. When she's talking, put your phone down. Make eye contact. Nod. Ask follow-up questions that show you're engaged with what she's saying, not just waiting for a gap to insert yourself. And resist the urge to immediately offer solutions or relate everything back to your experience. Not listening makes her feel alone. But the fifth mistake makes her feel controlled. Mistake 5. Being jealous or possessive too early. The fifth thing that destroys attraction is being jealous or possessive before you've earned that right. You've been on 3 dates and you're asking who she's texting. You're not officially together, but you're upset she went out with friends without telling you. You see another man like her photo, and you make a comment about it. You think you're showing you care, that you're protective, that you want to be with her. But what she's actually experiencing is control. Red flags. The warning signs of someone who will become suffocating if she lets this continue. Here's the psychology. Jealousy and possessiveness are only acceptable within established, committed relationships where trust and boundaries have been negotiated. And even then, they need to be handled maturely. But when you display these behaviors early, before you're even exclusive, before she's chosen you as her partner, it's terrifying. Because it shows her what you'll be like if she commits. It shows her that you'll try to control who she talks to, where she goes, what she does. And that's not love. That's imprisonment. Here's how to prevent this. Trust her until you have a specific reason not to. If you're not exclusive, she owes you nothing in terms of reporting her schedule or limiting her interactions with other people. Jealousy reveals insecurity. But the sixth mistake shows something worse. It shows you have no standards for yourself. Mistake 6. Having no standards or boundaries. You accept whatever she offers. You're okay with whatever arrangement she proposes. She cancels plans last minute and you say no problem. She treats you inconsistently and you tolerate it. She disrespects you and you make excuses for why it's okay. You think you're being understanding, flexible, easygoing. But what she sees is a man with no self-respect, no bottom line, no point at which he'll say this isn't acceptable. And that makes you impossible to respect or stay attracted to. Here's why this matters. Women test men. Not consciously usually, but they test to see if you have standards, if you'll maintain boundaries, If you respect yourself enough to walk away from treatment that's beneath you, and when you tolerate everything, when you have no line that shouldn't be crossed, you fail that test. Because a man without standards is a man without value. If you'll accept anything, you're worth nothing. Here's how to prevent this. Decide what you will and won't accept, and enforce those boundaries consistently. If she cancels without good reason, don't immediately offer another date. Let her come to you when she's ready to make plans she'll keep. No boundaries means no respect. But the seventh mistake happens in how you present yourself. Mistake 7. Oversharing too soon. You tell her your entire life story on the first date. You share your deepest traumas, your insecurities, your fears, your past relationship failures, all within the first few conversations. You think you're being open, vulnerable, building connection, but what you're actually doing is overwhelming her, killing mystery, and positioning yourself as emotionally unstable before she's decided if she even likes you yet. Here's the psychology. Vulnerability builds connection, but only when it's earned and reciprocal. When you dump your emotional history on someone who barely knows you, it doesn't create intimacy, it creates discomfort. Because she hasn't built enough investment in you yet to hold that weight. She's not your therapist, she's not your confidant, she's someone trying to decide if she wants to get to know you. And when you unload everything immediately, it feels like pressure, like you're asking her to fix you or save you. And that's too much too fast. The pattern looks like this. First date, you're talking about your childhood trauma. Second date, you're explaining your anxiety issues. Third date, you're detailing your last breakup and everything your ex did wrong. And each time, you notice her getting quieter, less engaged, because you're not building mystery or intrigue. You're building a case for why you're too much work, too damaged, too complicated. Here's how to prevent this. Share gradually. Match her level of vulnerability. If she shares something personal, you can reciprocate with something similar in depth. The 8th mistake shows desperation, and desperation is the fastest way to make her run. Mistake 8, moving too fast emotionally. You've been talking for a week and you're already saying you can't stop thinking about her. You've been on 2 dates and you're talking about a future together. You've known her a month and you're saying you're falling in love. You think you're showing your feelings, being honest, letting her know she matters. But what she's hearing is desperation, intensity without foundation. And it scares her away because it's not based on actually knowing her. It's based on an idea of her. Here's why. When you escalate emotionally faster than the relationship has actually developed, it reveals something about you. It reveals that you're not responding to who she actually is. You're responding to the idea of being with someone, anyone. And she can feel that. She can feel that your intensity isn't about her specifically. It's about your need for connection, your loneliness, your eagerness to lock someone down. And that makes her feel interchangeable, like any woman would do, like you're not choosing her, you're choosing to not be alone. The pattern looks like this. You've had 3 good conversations, and you're already texting her good morning and good night every day. You've been out twice, and you're already trying to define the relationship. You've known her 2 weeks, and you're already making declarations about how special she is. And each time you do this, you're applying pressure. You're forcing her to either match your intensity or reject it. And since she's not actually there yet, since she's still figuring out if she likes you, your intensity forces her to pull back. One woman said a man told her he was falling for her after their second date. She said it immediately changed how she felt. Not because she didn't like him, but because it felt unearned. They barely knew each other. How could he have deep feelings for her already? And it made her question his judgment, made her feel like he was more in love with the idea of a relationship than with her as a person. She slowly distanced herself because his intensity felt suffocating. Here's how to prevent this. Let the relationship develop at a natural pace. Match her emotional investment level. If she's still casual and getting to know you, stay there. Don't jump ahead to deeper emotional territory before she's ready. This doesn't mean hiding your feelings. It means expressing them appropriately for the stage you're actually in. After 3 dates, you can say, "I really enjoy spending time with you." Moving too fast shows neediness. But the 9th mistake shows you have no life, and that destroys attraction permanently. Mistake 9. Making her your entire world. The 9th thing that destroys attraction is making her your entire world. You stop seeing your friends. You abandon your hobbies. You have no plans that don't involve her. Your whole life revolves around her schedule, her availability, her moods. And you think this shows dedication, commitment, how much she matters to you. But what it actually shows is that you have no life of your own, no identity outside of the relationship, and that makes you boring, clingy, and ultimately unattractive. Here's the psychology. People are attracted to people with full, interesting lives. When you had hobbies, friends, goals, things you were passionate about, you were interesting. You had stories to tell, energy that came from sources other than her. But when you make her your everything, when you drop all of that to focus solely on her, you become one-dimensional. You have nothing to talk about except your relationship, nothing to bring to the table except your availability. And that's not attractive, that's suffocating. The pattern looks like this. Before you met, you played basketball with friends every Thursday. Now you skip it if she's free. You used to work on your side business in the evenings. Now you spend every evening waiting for her texts. You had weekend activities you enjoyed. Now you keep weekends completely open in case she wants to hang out. And gradually, you become someone with no life outside of her. Someone whose entire mood depends on whether she's paying attention to you or not. Here's how to prevent this. Keep your life full. Maintain your friendships. Continue your hobbies. Pursue your goals. Let her be an addition to your life, not the center of it. This doesn't mean neglecting the relationship. It means maintaining the things that made you interesting in the first place. Women don't want to be your everything. They want to be part of something already meaningful. Making her your world shows you have no identity. But the 10th mistake reveals the worst thing. It shows you don't respect yourself. Mistake 10. Tolerating disrespect to keep her. She speaks to you condescendingly and you let it slide. She flakes on plans repeatedly and you keep accepting it. She disregards your feelings and you prioritize hers anyway. She treats you like an option while you treat her like a priority. And you accept all of this because you're afraid if you stand up for yourself, she'll leave. But here's the brutal truth. By tolerating disrespect, you guarantee she'll lose interest. Because no one respects, much less stays attracted to, someone who doesn't respect themselves. Here's why this is the ultimate attraction destroyer. Self-respect is the foundation of all attraction. When you tolerate poor treatment, when you allow someone to cross your boundaries without consequence, when you accept behavior you know is wrong just to keep someone around, you're broadcasting low value. You're telling her and yourself that you don't believe you deserve better. And if you don't believe it, she certainly won't. The pattern shows up everywhere. She cancels last minute with weak excuses, and you immediately offer to reschedule. She speaks to you harshly in front of others, and you laugh it off. She's consistently late or inconsiderate, and you never address it. She doesn't reciprocate effort, and you keep giving more. Each time you do this, you teach her that disrespecting you has no consequences, that she can treat you however she wants, and you'll still be there. And that dynamic makes attraction completely vanish. Here's how to prevent this. Have non-negotiable standards for how you're treated. If she disrespects you, address it immediately and calmly. If she continues, walk away. Not as a manipulation tactic, as a genuine boundary.